you a fan of this podcast? Do you wish there was even more juicy content for you to sink your ears into? Well, there is. You can become a premium member of this podcast for $5.99 a month and get full access to an archive of over 50 bonus episodes. Additionally, we release a bonus episode every single month. That's a ton of extra content, including my personal interior design diaries, extra tips, my talking about trends, and so much more. Additionally, you'll be keeping us on the airwaves each and every week because your premium membership money goes directly back to making this podcast amazing. Check us out at affordableinteriordesign.com. Click on podcast to learn more and to become a premium member today.
You don't need a high-end designer or a lot of money to get a luxe look. Be your own interior designer.
This is Affordable Interior Design, the podcast.
Here's your host, Betsy Helmuth.
Hello there. Happy spring. I hope it is as beautiful where you are as it is here where I am. The day is absolutely perfect. And I do realize that I need to podcast, even though I want to be outside, pushing my stroller, looking at all the beautiful spring flowers, taking it in. They always seem to lose their petals way before I'm ready. And I just want to be out there. So, I've decided to not subject you to the sounds of nature and birds chirping, and I've decided to do this in my family room while my baby naps. But it's great to talk to you again. You know, a couple of weeks ago, I did a spotlight on how to buy art online, and that was received really well. I heard from you guys letting me know that it was really informative, and now that you're excited to shop for art online, whereas before you felt a little intimidated or weren't sure exactly what to look for. So I thought if it's helped you to shop for art online, perhaps we should do another spotlight, but this time talking about how to shop for rugs online, because that's another one that I think can be pretty tricky, and that I do have some tips that I think will make it a lot easier for you and a lot more foolproof. Before I dig into those wonderful tips and information, I wanted to invite you guys to send me your questions. You know, I know a lot of you are spring cleaning, maybe even spring decorating. And so if you have questions that have come up, if there's something on your mind, write into me. All you have to do is go to affordableinteriordesign.com/podcast. Once again, affordableinteriordesign.com/podcast. And there you will see a form to send me a question. If you're a premium member, fill out that form because then you'll get your own episode spotlight and you'll get access to our archive of back bonus episodes. But if you're just a regular listener, submit your question too. You can send pictures and you'll hear your question on the air in an upcoming episode. So guys, send that in. And in the meanwhile, let's talk rugs. So the first thing is, what are some advantages of buying rugs online? Well, the clear advantage, just like with art, is the amazing selection that it opens up for you. You literally have a world of options. Now, that can be very intimidating to a lot of people, and it can lead to going down many different rug rabbit holes. But it is nice to have a wide array of options. It's nice to not have to go to stores. It's nice to have these large, bulky items in this really easy to scroll through resource, being your web browser, right? So I think the real only advantage is just the selection and the inventory. Also, the fact that you can price match with ease. So many of these rugs are on multiple sites. Now, that's not really the case with the artwork, right? Artwork that you find on Etsy may not be on another site at a different price. Artwork that you find at Saatchi may not be anywhere else for that same price. But with rugs, you can easily Google image search, Or oftentimes I will search the name of the rug. Not only will it show me lots of other places where I can find it, so I can easily see what the most cost effective one would be, but the other thing is that if I'm looking for several rugs in one room and I want to make sure that the colors of the different yarns are going to match, but I don't want the same pattern, if I type in the name of the rug, oftentimes, especially with rugs by Sapovea or by Ralph Lauren, they will have a few rugs by the same name in a series. So I'll be able to see the same colorways, but in four different patterns. So I'm often using that resource when I'm designing in large open concept spaces and need to use multiple rugs. And I want to make sure that the colors will be a precise match, but I want the imagery and the pattern to be very different. Um, so those are really the main advantages to shopping online for rugs. The disadvantages. I was just mentioning color, and of course, color is one of the huge disadvantages. The color that you see online may not be the color that actually comes. And that's something I really find by searching the different stores, by typing in the name of the rug or Google image searching the image of the rug, is that you'll be able to see it on different websites. And that will really show you how it looks with different color calibrations. So it may look a little bit more navy on one website and a little bit more teal on the other website. And so basically, I'll either read the reviews to find out what the true color is, or at least to get a better sense of what the color is. Or, when I've looked it up on all those different websites, maybe on most of the websites, it looks navy. And then I'm fairly assured that that's the color blue I'm going to be getting. That's a huge disadvantage. The other disadvantage is that you can't feel or touch it. And for rugs, again, unlike artwork, touching it is very crucial. Your feet are going to be touching it a lot. And you want to make sure that it's not scratchy if it's 100% wool. You want to make sure that it's got a nice pile, that the plushness you're hoping for is the plushness that you get. Oftentimes, my clients will want a very plush, comfortable rug underfoot, and then they get it and it's, a very thin pile or low weave, and they're disappointed. Now, here's how you can prevent that disappointment is you can learn the pile heights. Because when you go in the description of the rug, so go past just the main website, and it usually says more details, additional dimensions, you'll want to look at the pile heights. If you're looking for something that's not very plush, something that's pretty thin, something that will be super forgiving with like pet stains and things like that, easy to clean, won't get Cheerios trapped in it because it's so shaggy, then you're probably going to want a low pile rug. Now, a low pile rug is anything under 0.25 inches high. That's like a low pile rug. So, this is how I can assure myself and assure my clients that what they want is what they will be getting. Also, if you're looking for like a medium pile rug, which I feel is the most common type of pile that's requested by my clients, you're going to go 0.25 to zero point 0.5. That's that mid-size pile, comfortable underfoot, not super shaggy, but, a nice experience. And then anything over zero point 0.5 is going to be pretty shaggy, pretty plush. Certainly, as we go to the 1 inch range, you're getting a very high pile. So, you want to know that that's probably going to shed a little bit more than those other rugs. It's going to have that really plush texture that can be hard to vacuum, can be hard to ensure is clean, but is perfect for a place like a bedroom where you want that really cozy, decadent plush experience. So that's a disadvantage of buying a rug online is that, you're going to have to rely on numbers versus experience in terms of touching and feeling this rug in order to tell you what it's going to be like. And then, of course, another disadvantage to buying a rug online is that it is so bulky. So returning this thing is not an easy task. Now, I'm assuming that you're getting a large area rug and not just a doormat or a hallway runner. Those are quite easy to return. But when we're talking about an 8 by 10, a 9 by 12, it could be really time consuming to roll that back up, to package it for UPS or whatever carrier you're using. And then a lot of these companies will make you pay for the return shipping label. And with a rug, that is no joke. That can be a multiple hundreds of dollars expense. Now, speaking of expenses, what should you think about in terms of budget when you're shopping for rugs online? You truly do get what you pay for with rugs. Those super cheap rugs, under $500 for an 8 by 10, things like that. They often tend to be a synthetic fiber. Now, I have nothing against a synthetic fiber for the most part. They can be very easy to clean. They don't tend to shed. The colors tend to be pretty vibrant and true. The problem for me with a polypropylene or acrylic or nylon rug is that they do tend to off gas. They have quite a smell because they aren't a natural fiber. So they have kind of a plasticky smell that takes a while to go away. And then the other issue is that they feel and look synthetic. I have a big thing. I hate when you can see the binding around the edge of the rug. So you can kind of see where the pattern makes an abrupt end, and instead there's a solid kind of border made by a binding on all four sides of the rug. I feel less turned off by a rug that, say, has fringe on two sides and binding on the other two sides. That for me is more palatable, believe it or not. But I really hate the rugs that are bound on all four edges with this binding. And you'll often find that with the cheaper style rugs. So I tend to skew, between $600 and $3,000 for a good quality rug. And that tends to get you like an 8 by 10, 9 by 12. And my favorite places to shop when looking for rugs, I love Crate and Barrel. I love Pottery Barn. And then I like places like Rugs Direct. I like places like Macy's. These have a lot of rugs that you'll find at other stores. And of course, you can comparison shop, but I usually find the best prices at rugsdirect.com and Macy's. I like that with Macy's, I can go to the store if I want to, just like with Crate and Barrel and Pottery Barn. That's exciting. I also used to like West Elm quite a bit, but their patterns have been really abstract lately. And I like an abstract pattern, but not all the time. Sometimes it just looks like a messy stain rather than a really cool art piece. So I found that I'm just not as taken with their inventory lately, but I do like the quality historically. And of course, places like Restoration Hardware have nice rugs, but they're going to be super pricey. Places like Our House have beautiful rugs, but again, super pricey. But the other allure is that you can see it online first and go see it in person second. With a place like Wayfair, you really are rolling the dice, and that return is going to be pretty expensive. So I not only comparison shop in terms of prices, but I want to see lots of reviews for the rug I'm going to be purchasing. And now it's time for a quick commercial break. Do you love this podcast? Do you wish you could learn even more? Well, we have an online class bundle. Our online class bundle is comprised of 3 online classes: beautifying your home for less, styling your home, and the fundamentals of feng shui. Each one of those 3 classes is between 30 and 45 minutes long and chock filled with visuals and tips, things that will help you to style your own space or help out with other spaces. Additionally, with the pack of 3 classes, you get an autographed copy of my book, Affordable Interior Design. You get all of that for only $99. Once again, that's the 3 online classes as well as the book for only $99. You just go to affordableinteriordesign.com/classes. Once again, affordableinteriordesign.com/classes to buy your bundle today. And if one of those classes sounded intriguing, but maybe you already have my book or some of the other topics are not of interest, you can buy the classes individually at that site as well. Each class is $40. So head over to affordableinteriordesign.com/classes to get your bundle or your online class today. Now, anytime I'm spending over $3,000 on a rug, there's a chance I'm going to want to go see it in person. There's a chance that I'm going to need something really nice and it's maybe a feature rug in the space. And because it's such a large visual element, you really want it to be compelling, something you're proud of, something that sets the tone for the whole room. And it can be hard to find a really amazing rug for under $3,000. But all the rugs in my home are under $3,000 and they're all lovely. Are they a showstopper? Maybe not. But do they work seamlessly with the other elements in the room? Definitely. Does it blend right in? Do people ask me where I got my rugs all the time? Yes. Does it look like a hand knotted Persian rug? No, it doesn't. But it's also not $30,000. So I feel really good about that. And I highly recommend, even though I've given some warning signs, buying rugs online. All my rugs I wound up buying online, even though I did go see a few of them at Macy's and at Safavea. But ultimately, I found better prices online besides the ones at Macy's. All right. So the next question is, how should you factor in personal style when you're shopping for rugs? I love to infuse my style with a rug. When you're picking out that two-word phrase for your room, one word is the style word, the other word is the feeling word. The rug, because as I mentioned before, it's such a big visual element, should really emphasize either the style or the feeling. And it's really easy to evoke a style with a rug because oftentimes there's a lively pattern. Oftentimes there's many colors. Oftentimes it's my inspiration piece for the entire room. So I really like picking pieces that have a lot of personality. And maybe you're wondering to yourself, Betsy, if I pick a piece with a lot of personality, if I pick a piece that's vibrant with a bold pattern, what if I get sick of it? Well, in my mind, it's not a huge commitment. Yes, it's a big piece, but as somebody who has young children, who has pets, it's never going to be a legacy item for me, unlike, say, a hutch, a dining table, a formal sofa. These are not going to be pieces that I think will last me forever. And so I'm more willing to swap them out after a few years. So I don't think of it as a long term commitment because you can get them so affordably these days. And because they do take a licking, at least in my house. In fact, mine take an actual licking because my dog is often licking up crumbs from our snacks from the rug. So anyway, that is another thing to think about is that, you're not really committed to this rug like say you would be wallpaper or paint. And you're thinking to yourself, hey, paint is pretty cheap. Wallpaper can be fairly affordable too. But it's the application of those pieces, actually putting them on the walls that starts to get expensive and either outsourcing it to someone who's going to do it for you or your own time cost, right? Your time outlay. Whereas a rug, you can easily roll it down and take it back up with sort of a minimal investment in time and energy. So, what are some trending or classic styles to consider as you shop for rugs online? Let me start with the classics. A geometric rug. And I literally type in geometric pattern rug to get sort of a pattern that's more repeatable, a pattern that kind of can transition through a lot of different styles. Um, that is one that I'm constantly using and will not be going out of style. The other type of style you could consider is a striped rug. Then, of course, they have the overdyed Persian rugs. Now, I've been using those for 10 years, and basically, they look like a more traditional pattern, an Oriental style rug, but maybe they're kind of washed out with only one color versus a variety of colors. Or maybe, you know, they're called over dyed because they're overly saturated with dye so that you can't really perceive the pattern all that well. Now, I thought those were going to be a flash in the pan 10 years ago, and they are still hanging tough. I am still seeing them everywhere. I am still using them on the regular, including in my own home. So while I thought that might go out, it certainly has not. Now, either has a more traditional Persian style with that kind of medallion center print and the kind of elegant and intricate borders and things like that. That's also still very popular and it can be made more contemporary with different colors. Pottery Barn does a lovely job of this. They have some gray and blue ones that harken back to sort of an older look with the actual pattern, but the colorway makes it so fresh and it works so well with lots of different contemporary styles. In terms of trending, I think abstract is a big trend that's going to be out relatively soon. I do love an abstract rug, by the way, but I just think that it definitely reads as a little bit dated. What else is a trend that I might avoid? I don't know. I'm kind of open. Checkerboard is a trend right now that I tend to avoid just because it looks so busy, but I'm not saying that as a blanket statement because it is kind of a classic pattern. I just think it's a little bit busy for a rug, unless it's tone on tone. In other words, tone on tone meaning a dark red and a light red checkerboard versus a white and black checkerboard. Um, I really think the abstract is the only one that I would call trendy and that I might start avoiding. The other thing that I avoid, but not because it's trendy, is a solid colored rug. And the reason I avoid that is because it shows stains. It so easily betrays any imperfection. So if there was a pet stain, if there was a spill, you can easily see it on a solid colored rug. Now, I want to have a huge warning. I want to have a huge disclaimer. When you are shopping for rugs, whether in person or online, there is something you should always avoid. And by always, I mean every time, 100% of the time, you are going to be drawn to these rugs. You are going to want to buy one of these rugs and you must avoid it. And that is viscose. Viscose. Viscose is a fiber that they're using in a lot of rugs to make it look like a silk, to give it a beautiful sheen, to give it a really nice feel underfoot, silky and soft. And then in the light, it almost dances because the threads are almost shiny, right? The problem is viscose stains even with water. Now, you're going to find it at a lot of the price points I suggested you shop for because it is that cheaper version of silk. But the very first spill, the very first droplet of water that comes from your glass, it's over, it's ruined. And I really hate working with viscose. When I was shopping for my own home, I think I needed like 25 rugs. And I was so drawn to so many viscose rugs, and I won't get near them with a 10-foot pole. It was very disappointing to look at a beautiful rug online or to peel back that perfect rug at Safaveya only to discover that it was viscose. And yes, even with a small percentage, because you'll see those rugs that are like, 80% polyester, 10% acrylic or wool or whatever, cotton, and then 10% viscose. Stay away. Stay away. Let's see what other topics I wanted to talk about. We already kind of touched on the shipping return policy situation. Typically, the shipping is not so expensive. They're trying to encourage you to buy online. They're trying to be competitive with the other vendors that are online. So you can often get low cost or even free shipping, but it's that return sticker that's going to cost you. It's putting it back in your car and driving it to UPS. It's putting it back in your car and taking it to Pottery Barn so you don't have to pay for the return shipping. That's a problem the bigger the rug. So factor that into your decision making when you're choosing whether to buy one online or in person. Guys, I hope this information has been helpful. I hope you've been taking notes if you're thinking about buying rugs online. And if you're thinking to yourself, Betsy, I am not going to buy a rug online. I have other questions. Why didn't you talk about lighting? Why didn't you talk about coffee tables? Send me your questions, guys. I'll talk about whatever you want. Go to affordableinteriordesign.com/podcast, fill out the form, and submit your question today. Until next time, bye. You've asked for it, and we have answered the call. For years, you've been saying, Betsy, you're talking about all these great design concepts, but we can't visualize them. You're describing the picture that the listener sent in of their problem, and we wish we could see that picture too. After all, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and I do my best to describe them, but there's nothing like seeing it for yourself. And that's why Affordable Interior Design, the podcast, now has a YouTube channel. Not only do we have a YouTube channel where you could see recordings and clips of these podcast episodes, we also have an Instagram, a Facebook, and so many other exciting things. You should check it out. Head over to affordableinteriordesign.com/links. Once again, affordableinteriordesign.com/LINKS. links. And when you go there, you will see links to our YouTube page, our Instagram page, our Facebook page, and more. Please check it out, follow and subscribe so you can see everything I'm talking about. A big thank you to our amazing producer, Catherine Heller, to Aton and the MVCR House Band, and to Affordable Interior Design, the sponsor of this podcast and the premier place to get an amazing look on a budget. Check out affordableinteriordesign.com. If you guys love the show, the very best way to support us is by spreading the word. tell your friends or write us an awesome review on iTunes. So until next week, guys, thanks so much for joining us, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.